I'm Rob from HopZine.com. Thanks for joining me for another video beer review. This time we're looking at something I can't believe I haven't reviewed already. It's just one of those beers that you overlook. When you've got so much exciting beer around, you don't drink bottles of Anchor Steam from the Anchor Brewery in San Francisco, 4.8% ABV. An absolute classic, one of the founding fathers of American craft beer. A steam beer is, interestingly enough, anyway, I'm just going to open this while I'm talking. A steam beer is a funny old hybrid between an ale and a lager. It is brewed with a lager yeast, so bottom fermenting yeast, but at a higher temperature between 16 and about 21 degrees. I was watching a video with Fritz Maytag, the former owner of Anchor, and talking about it all, and he was saying it goes back to the historical times where temperature control wasn't something you knew about. Before the idea of putting big barrels in kind of sides of caves in Bavaria were a done thing. You just brewed beer at the temperature it was outside. I mean, you live in a cold place, you brew a beer that ends up fermenting low, bottom fermenting, because that's how the yeast kind of adapts and things like that. If you're in a warmer climate, it might kind of rise to the top. I mean, if you're in too hot a climate, it might not even work at all. But this is the entire thing. It's brewed kind of as a lager, but the temperatures that you'd expect an ale to be. And so supposed folklore about the steam kind of name came from because of we've been a lager yeast kicked out quite a lot of CO2, and it's quite a highly carbonated beer from all accounts. That when they tap the cask, it'd steam. So that's supposedly a bit of folklore about this beer. And yeah, it'll be gone by the time you see this video. I'm doing a tasting event at my local craft beer bar, and I'm talking about the kind of history of American craft beer. And I thought, well, you can't do this without doing Anchor, and you can't talk about Anchor if you haven't tasted it recently. So I thought, let's do just that. So, beer in the glass, Anchor Steam, one of the icons of craft beer. A lovely kind of bright amber, kind of slightly chestnut hue to it. A lovely tight fluffy head, slightly off white, good amount of carbonation. Looks good, looks like an alt beer. Well, I guess there's a similarity between an alt beer and a steam beer in many ways. So let's check out the aroma. Oh yeah. It definitely, it reminds me of, I was given a alt beer by a German friend, and it really does have those characteristics. You can kind of see the nods towards a traditional British ale in those kind of buttery chestnut, wet leaves, topsoil. It reminds me of autumn, does that smell, that kind of wet leaf. Slight kind of marzipan. Yeah, it's definitely got a spicy kind of Kentish kind of ale smell. I don't get much what kind of reminds me of a lager, but definitely reminds me of a traditional kind of British Kentish ale. Interesting. It's been absolutely years since I've tasted this beer, and I've come a long way since then. So let's dig in. Anchor Steam. It's about time. Cheers. That tastes nicer though. What's nice, that it's so peculiar, so different. Yeah, once again, I do think of beers kind of like what you get from Shepherd Neame, like Winstable Bay and Canterbury Jack and all that kind of thing, but with a nicer, cleaner, less intrusive yeast character. A decent amount of body. I mean, for the style, I mean, it's got quite a oily, going just above kind of low kind of mouthfeel. There's a marzipan stroke banana note in there. Earthy, spicy notes as well, as you'd expect. I'm going to say something like nutmeg, maybe a hint of, maybe a little bit of, just a smidge of cardamom, clove definitely, copper pennies, yeah, brown bananas, the kind of like a dulled, kind of spiced orange. Apple, definitely. Wow, I've looked over this. Red apples. Not that potent. Maybe kind of like a pink lady, maybe like a Cox's apple, something like that. Might be Cox's, might be Cox's green. Definitely appley. Definitely ale. It's this, when I think of British ale, this is the kind of flavours I think of. I'm quite surprised that this is actually what this beer tastes like. And I can understand why, when I had it maybe 10 years ago, I wasn't in love with it, because it is very British and I didn't like British beer at that time. One of the best things about this beer is the fact that it is so historical. It's so true to what it should be. I would imagine I wasn't there in kind of 1969 when Fritz bought Anchor. But I mean, I know he was always kind of like a real kind of stickler for things and took a lot of pride in what he did and wanted to hold on to the heritage. And I think it's here in the glass. And I think this is what Anchor Steam is. It's heritage and history of beer in a glass. This is where it all kind of began in the US. And it's got British fingerprints all over it. It's really interesting. It's really interesting, and kind of it's a bit of a pat on the back for us Brits. It's where it all still began. I mean, you might have your Planet of the Elders and your Dark Lords and stuff, but if it weren't for us, you'd still be all drinking lager. Just remember that. So that's a bottle of, only joking, Anchor Steam beer from the Anchor Brewery in San Francisco, California, 4.8% ABV. It's where it all started. Anyway, I'm Rob from HopZine.com. See you next time. Cheers.